Entering data into each month. Okay, so let's start getting into some things here that'll show you how to really get going with this system. I've already input some information in the starting balances, the opening balances. Month 1 is January, so that's where this will show up as the initial input. Here I put a negative 1,500. I'm going to change that. Now watch your owner equity at the bottom. It changes. So okay, so the owner equity down the bottom automatically calculates. We went over that before. So now I want to show you, we'll go to month 1, which is January, and you will see that there is nothing here yet. I would have to unlock something so you could see it running all the way across. But if we go to the financial statements in month 1, you will see all of the numbers that I put in. And let me just scroll down. You will also see the equity, owner equity 26,250. Going back to chart of accounts, going back to the company setup, 26,250 is your owner equity. Okay, so we're going to month 1. This is our cash screen where you can input income as well as expenses. So I've already put in a couple of things here. These are expenses, and you'll see that I'm going to do another one. Put in the date, tab across. I'm making up a name here, and I'm going to put in. Now, when you get to the account name, the accounts are in a drop-down box. Okay, so you can see that you have assets, your liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. So let's say here, Joe Auto, and I want to put in auto expense. All I have to do is start typing the account and it'll show up. It'll automatically record it to auto expense, and you're all set. So going back to the financials now, you can see in month 1 what we've done. Cash has gone down. We've got inventory that I put in, furniture that I put in, and down in the income and expenses, there's no income yet, but we've got that auto expense. We've got office supplies expenses, things that are already in there. And you can see up here that my balances, they balance when you go to the back end for the year to date. All of this will now give you the up-to-date information on the entire set of books. Okay, so you always go to the last section if you want to know everything. You have to come up with a balance sheet and income statement. Now, because we did just month 1, it's all the same. You're going to see as we go through individual months, we'll have separate income and expenses, but down here at the year end, those items will be added up, so you have the running total of income and expenses. Okay, so getting back to month 1, let's say we make an entry here. We'll do it 1, 10, 20, 25. We'll go across and say Staples again. And let's just put in $25, and again we'll call it office supplies. So I started typing office, it comes up, and there will be a reduction in our cash. Okay, so what if I forgot to put in an account? All right, it looks okay, you know, I'm doing stuff, I forgot. We go back to our financial statements, And now you'll see we have an error on the year to date. We have an error in January. So you say, oh, what did I do? Most likely the error is a result of you not putting in the account name. Okay, so if we go back and we put in office supplies and we look at our financials, now we balance. All right, year end, now we balance. So just keep that in mind. If it pops up that there's an error, chances are you forgot to put in an account name. Now I'm going to go back to the company setup page and show you something else. What if you remember in a prior video, I showed you how to change these months so that if, let's say you're on a July to June year, you can change that. All you got to do is change this to July, grab that little dot and pull it down, and it'll change all the other months. I showed you, like, I put July and August and then dragged it down. Generally, you're going to be able to do just 1 month and drag it down, and it'll work. So anyway, let's leave it here, and you say, look, I don't want, I'm starting to use this system in October. I don't want to change my year end. I'll go to the October month and start doing my input there. So okay, let's say you didn't do it this way. We'll knock out all of these so that everything now in that month 1 start is a 0. All right, so now I want to go back and show you. I'm going to delete all the month 1 information that we put in. Okay, so now we're in month 1. You can see I deleted everything. And by the way, folks, you can't leave any lines blank. So when you're starting your entries, you got to start on the very first line, which is line number 4 for the entries, and follow that down. Don't skip lines. You're going to get an error if you do. So okay, let's go to October, and I'm going to show you what you can do. I have hidden a number of tabs here, but we do have a general journal entry page. So let's go to month 10. I'm going to right click, and you'll see unhide, and you're going to see a whole bunch of hidden tabs come up. I'm going to go to month 10, GJ month 10. That means general journal entry. I'm going to unhide it, and if I was going to start my using this system in October, I would do it this way. I would say, just to give you an idea, let's say I bought a car from Ford. We're going to put it under equipment. All right, 20,000. I'm going to also say on that first day we opened a bank account. I know I'm using big numbers here, but and we can do cash entries here. So this is a way you would open up, let's say on 10/5 we bought some office supplies. We went to Staples and spent $1,500 on office supplies. So this is the way you could start moving everything over. You take your current balances from whatever system you're using. That's assets, liabilities, equity, owner equity. You'd have to manually input revenues and expenses and follow that through so you have everything so it balances. And if you go down to the bottom, you'll be able to see whoops, we have an error. I didn't put in some kind of an entry here. So we had 50,000 in cash. The number must be my equity. All right, so I'll tab across. I don't need to necessarily put anything in there. And what am I off by? 81.5 OW comes up owner equity. Now if I go down to the bottom, you can see I put it in the wrong place. So it's really a credit to owner equity. Now if I go down to the bottom, it's a credit. So the debits and credits line up. It was balanced. And that's how I could start if I'm going to October. So I will show you in the financial statements what happens. And we go to October, it's balanced. Year to date is balanced. It has all of the information that you need. Okay, so if you were not starting at the beginning of the year and you didn't want to change that information on your company setup, that's the way you would do it. All right. So I just deleted all that input so everything zeroes out. But I want to point out to you too that if we go back to, let's go back to month one, you'll see on the right hand side here, there are charts. So as you input information, these charts will appear and you get a visual of where you're at with your income statement and your balance sheet. So that's the way you input. Remember, every month has a general journal to it that you can open up. And what I just showed you in month 10 using opening balance, you can also do that. Let's say you have, let me unhide month one. Okay, and go to, let's say we've got a bunch of expenses. I'm not going to put in the date and the name and all of that, but a bunch of expenses in here, and it's a credit card, and you want to record every expense that comes in on your credit card for that month. So you would charge all of these different accounts, and you've got to have an account name, remember, or it won't balance. So let's put in some account names. Inventory. I'm just going to put other expense. So now, because it's a credit card situation, we're going to put in, I'm just going to put it here so we know, if I want to know the total, we're at $600. It's down at the bottom. It's showing error. And I've got to put it in as a liability because I haven't paid it yet. Credit card payable is right there. So now you'll see that this balances. This is the way you can enter your credit cards. Now you can see it balances. The financial statements are all good in balance. We go down month one. You can see here you've got all the expenses I input, and also some of the input was assets, right? Inventory. And then the credit card payable shows up $600. So that's the way you could put in your credit card. Maybe a little later I'll show you if you are doing a lot of activity and you run out of room in your general journal, which is hard to imagine. I have some hidden lines in this system where you can put in all your credit card entries and not go to your general journal. But the general journal is the easiest way if you don't run out of space and you do have a lot of activity. So as I mentioned to you earlier, you should think about what accounts you want to use and change them before you make any entries, because I'm going to show you now what happens. If we go back, you could see here in month one, I put in something for inventory, and you turn around and you say, well, I'm not going to have inventory after the first month. So I want to show you what happens if you make a mistake, and instead of going to your chart of accounts to take out that inventory, you accidentally go to the company setup. Well, here's what's going to happen. We're going to reduce inventory, right, and just call other assets. And we've already got other assets too. So we're going to say other assets 3. This is what happens. You're going to get this, and you're going to say, what is going on? It doesn't work. Yes, it does. All right, so I'm going to go back. There's a little, if you make a mistake like this, up in the upper left, you see a backwards arrow. You can click that until you get back to where you were. All right, now inventory pops up again. Now, you always got to make that change in your chart of accounts. So here we're in the chart of accounts. We backspace. We're going to put in other assets 3. That'll change. Now, if we go back to month 1, you're going to see that I originally had inventory. I did it for the year. I'm not going to buy any more, so I just say, oh, I got an open account now. Well, let's see what we've got. When you go to your drop down and we look at assets, you got other assets 3. Inventory disappeared, so it's not going to work. You have an error in your financial statements because there's no such account anymore. So that is where you're going to have a problem. All right, so now you know that I got an error. I changed the account name. There's no such account as inventory. Everything that you had in inventory will now go to other assets 3. All right, and now we'll go back to the financials. Now it balances. So don't change midstream unless you want to create a lot of work for yourself. All right. Use the open accounts that you haven't used, where you've never made an entry and it's never showing up on any of your monthly input screens. Just don't do it. There, other assets, other liabilities. There's other income, other expenses. If you keep those unused and you have a specific item that's going to be a recurring item, you can change the names of those. So now I want to show you something else. There is a hidden tab called customer vendor list. You saw me typing in all kinds of different vendor names, and I had to type the whole thing. So you can go to the customer vendor tab and input different places where you're always spending money. So Staples, maybe Joe's Auto Repair, and those now will become part of the drop down boxes in your vendor customer name list. So let's go to month 1. I will show you here. If I open up the drop down, it'll now show everything I put in there. So instead of like before when I typed in Staples, all I have to do is start the name and Staples will come up. I don't have to type the whole thing anymore. It's very much like the drop down with the account name. All the account names show up, and all you have to do is click on whatever one you're charging things to. So over here I'm going to show you, I mentioned that each month has one of these screens where you have charts, and it'll give you your income and expense as well as the balance sheet items. I personally don't feel like I would use this too often, but I've run it by a couple of people that like to see charts, and basically what's showing in your charts is what you're going to see in your financial statements on the month that you did the input and also at the year to date. So like I said, I don't particularly use them, and I'm going to unlock some other tab, unhide. So I'm going to unhide financial summary. This is a page, a tab that will break down for you your balance sheet, year-to-date income statement, and your first quarter results. Once you get through the first quarter, then if you scroll down, you've got second, third, and fourth quarter results, and that is under the financial summary page. I debate about leaving this open so that people can see it, but now you know how to unhide. So you right click, there's unhide. I'm going to hide this again. It disappears, and we're back to where we were. All right. So that's your drop down, and we will move on. So I know a lot of people, if you're anything like me, you want to know where things go. You see the account name. You go to the financial statements. Oh wow, it appears. But how do we get there? I'm going to show you something. I don't recommend you do this, but on all the tabs, if you look at the top, you're going to see a plus sign. If I click that, it's not going to let me do anything, all right, because I've got it locked. So what I would have to do is go to my review tab. Under the review tab, there's an unprotect, and on all of these, the password is 12345. I click OK. I'll go back and open this again, and now you can see all the way across. We have all of the account names for everything, every account, but I don't feel that it's necessary. If you know how this works, you don't really need to have to open that up. I'll show you an entry so that you can see how it goes across. All right, so I put in just to show you, Lena Smith, $2,000 income, cash in, rental income. So you'll see the cash $2,000. Then if you go across to the rental income, it's showing up under that column down at the bottom. There's your $2,000 rental income in. There's your $2,000 of cash in, and that shows up at the financial statement. So that's where it goes. Whatever account name you put in here, it goes across, it finds the account, and it puts it in that line. So I had mentioned this to you before. Let's say I have another rent from somebody, and I try to put it in here. Rent income. This is what's going to happen if you skip a line. The pound value sign comes up. You know that's an indication that you skipped a line. So don't skip lines. Save yourself some trouble, and things will be just great.